Hi everybody, it's Honest John again. Now, I'm sure you remember the State of the Union speech and all of the speeches that followed by the various factions in the Republican Party. And at the same time that they were giving their speeches calling for approval of the Keystone XL pipeline, at the same time they were talking about that, the people of Glendive, Montana were being told not to drink their water because a pipeline had burst upstream and spilled 40,000 gallons of oil into the Yellowstone River, which was the city's water supply. At the same time, it was announced that a pipeline in North Dakota spilled 3 million gallons of brine, a toxic byproduct of oil and natural gas drilling. And they can't clean up either of those spills until spring, because the oil companies have never developed any kind of technology that works in the winter. Spills happen in the winter, but they can't clean them up in the winter. Maybe they shouldn't be allowed to pump oil through pipelines in the winter. In total, there were, just last month, 5 pipelines that burst. 3 carrying oil and byproducts, and 2 natural gas pipelines, which exploded and were very dangerous for people. Now, here's a kind of interesting fact. In the 2 oil spills, the pipes that burst dated back to the 1950s. This is a perfect example of how the oil companies conduct their business. Once an oil pipeline is in place, they keep pumping oil through it until it bursts. And when it does, then they just replace only the section of the pipe that was ruptured. Everything else is left in place. Now, there are pipelines all over this country that are quite simply ticking time bombs. You would think it would be common sense that pipelines should be replaced, totally replaced periodically. But that's not the way the oil companies do business. See, that would cost money. So here is an uncomfortable fact. Every oil pipeline in the world will eventually burst. And then, and only then, will that section of the pipeline be replaced. The rest of it will stay the same. So now we're considering building another pipeline, Keystone XL, all the way from the Canadian border to the Gulf of Mexico. And it will pump tar sands oil, which is thick and gooey and abrasive because it has sand in it. And pushing that oil through that pipeline will require a lot of pressure because the oil is is thicker than regular oil. And because of that, that increases the likelihood that the pipeline will burst sooner rather than later. And Keystone XL will be passing over the Ogallala Aquifer, which supplies water to major cities and vast areas of farmland in 9 states. And the oil that flows through those pipelines will not even be sold in the United States. The whole purpose of building that pipeline is to get that oil to the Gulf of Mexico, where it can be exported and sold to other countries. So the supporters of the Keystone XL pipeline want us to risk our water and food supply in order to make money for Canadian oil companies and the Koch brothers, who have never shown any concern for the environment. Thanks for listening.